What was it like during the Cold War with the threat of nuclear war, especially during the Cuban Missile Crisis?
Well, we just talked about World War II and we thought it was over. But when it was over, it wasn't over because we started a Cold War with the Soviet Union, which is now Russia. The dictator of that country was Joseph Stalin, and he had been friends with Hitler. But then Hitler double crossed him and invaded Russia. So then, of course, they were not friends anymore, and the Russians fought back, and they became so-called friends of ours, because there's an old saying that war makes strange bedfellows. Now, we're not talking about beds or fellows, we're talking about countries. So then, if the Russians were against Hitler, and we and the British were against Hitler, and the French, then he suddenly was our strange bedfellow. But when the war was over, they had a meeting called Potsdam, and that was Stalin, Churchill of England, and President Roosevelt. But President Roosevelt was very ill, which nobody knew, and so he was not up to this meeting, and it ended up with Russia getting the ability to take over a bunch of countries like Czechoslovakia and Poland and put them in their sphere of influence. Very bad. So as a result, we had the Berlin Wall. We had people locked inside the Soviet Union, and we had the Cold War. So we had this problem of nuclear power, and it became a strange thing. The Cold War was a battle between the United States and the Soviet Union as to who was going to have the most warheads to go out and bomb everybody. Very bad. So then Stalin was a friend of Cuba, which was also communist and is still communist today. And so they started sending boats carrying nuclear warheads that could bomb us, because Cuba is only a few miles off our coast. And President Kennedy, who was new, said to them, "You are not going to do this. If you do this, we will go to war with you. We will shoot those boats down." And if you want to think you were scared, back in January of this year, remember how scary that was when they said there was an incoming missile and you had no place to go, no place to hide? That's the way we felt for several days, over a week. We were sure we were going to be in a war again, and that somebody would maybe bomb us. So that's exactly what it was like during the Cuban Missile Crisis.